Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're watching and or listening. This is episode 23 of the 214 Sports Show, your home for everything Dallas sports. We're so glad to have you. My name is Joseph Duffy. I'm joined along, as always, with my wonderful co-host tj.Krilowic and Courtney Machani. Fellas, how are we doing today, this afternoon? We're recording on Tuesday.
Doing great, Joe. How are you doing, though?
Doing all right. Glad y'all are with me for this. As always, glad to have the bunch back for a great podcast. It's been a very eventful past week since we have last recorded. Courtney, how you doing?
I was like, you gonna ask Courtney, man?
Of course I'll ask Courtney. Gotta ask everybody. Courtney, do you have a mic?
Ooh.
Does it sound like that for you too, TJ?
Yeah, it sounds like you muffled out, man. It sounds like
there it is.
There we go.
Wait, y'all can hear me now?
It sounded like you were talking off a computer.
Hear it better. Yeah.
All I did was just unplug another. Whatever. If it works, it works.
Seems like we're all having some technical difficulties, man.
Yeah. I'm on the ropes right here with my technical difficulties. Almost about to tap out with this update stuff. So if I lag or if I, time out, they'll notify me for anybody listening. But we're going to start with something we found interesting over this past weekend, of course, was the NFL divisional playoffs. A lot of interesting narratives around the league, very crazy games. All the games were pretty much kind of close. Wasn't anything really insane, except, of course, Ravens, Texans. That kind of got out of hand in the fourth quarter. But I'll have any brief thoughts that – yeah, unfortunate, of course. Hate to see that. Any brief thoughts after the playoffs? Yeah.
I mean, I really did. I was pretty high on Houston, to be honest. I mean, to be completely real, I thought that they had a real good chance of being Baltimore, even though, I'm not the biggest sports fan for Houston sports. But I thought they had a chance, but I should have known. I went on I think it was NFL on Fox Instagram account, and they did one of those screenshot to see who your champions are, and mine was the Baltimore Ravens. So I should have known that the Ravens were going to win, man. They're going all the way.
You had the script.
Yeah, I already got the script, man.
I mean, Bills Chiefs did the most views ever in the playoff game in NFL history of 50 million.
Really?
So,
what?
Yeah, Bills Chiefs did 50 million on CBS. So imagine what Mahomes versus Lamar is going to do.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Better than those Peacock ratings.
Peacock got
they said it got hella ratings, man. I don't know if I believe it or not. I wasn't watching it.
Streaming services lie all the time about
I bet you Stream East had more streams. That's where I was at.
Hey, Stream East is washed now, bro.
Oh my God.
It buffers now.
I heard about it. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Too many people, and that's why.
Hey, it was prime time with the Chiefs Dolphins game though, because nobody had it, and they performed, man. They showed up when it really mattered.
They showed up
for
Dolphins Chiefs. That's here, man. Unfortunately, I paid my $5.99. Like the consumerism that I am, man.
Hey, you got to adjust now. I gave you what to do. Yeah, you got to take advantage of that student discount. I can't believe people didn't know that. You save some money, Courtney.
Hey, it's nothing to me, but I'm gonna see this.
Well, moving on, we're gonna start with Mavs basketball, but beforehand, we're gonna do another edition. We didn't do this last week, but we're gonna do another edition of Pirtle, of course, the basketball version of the famous game Weddle, and we're gonna try to see if we can guess this basketball player. I don't know what level or mode we're gonna do here on this Pirtle. We're gonna do easy. We're gonna do hard.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
They don't have multiple on this one.
There's no easy or hard. It's just got to guess an NBA player. Now, fellas, what
Courtney,
player should we start out with?
No,
we always go with.
Your stuff isn't loaded either.
Man, this one. Okay, can you see it?
Oh, there, we see it.
All right, there we go. All right, is it Dwight Powell again this week? Do we do another Mavericks player? Do we just go with another? I say we always stick with a Mavericks player first guess.
Did we do Tim Hardaway Jr. last week?
Nah, but I was thinking Tim Hardaway. Great minds think alike.
Same page.
Should we go Drew Timmy? That's a name.
That's a great name.
Richardson's
I didn't know he was in the league.
Richardson's finest.
I know.
I don't know where he is, honestly.
I thought he got signed with the Kings, right? I can't remember.
I
I'm
Yeah,
a
I think he
casual when
did.
it
I think
comes
he
to that
did.
stuff.
Hey man, I thought
No,
he'd be
there's
going
no reason to
overseas.
come
I'm
and
not
catch
gonna
him.
lie.
With Drew
Yeah,
Timmy,
good for
man.
him, man. Yeah.
True.
The Tim Duncan of college basketball.
He was cooking the past 2 years.
All right,
West
so we got West
and
though.
guard forward.
It's definitely a
He's
forward,
older,
a
younger
young
than
forward,
31.
over 10. We could go with like DeAndre Ayton. We could go
Kuminga?
with Kuminga. That's a
Oh,
new
we
I
can
thought it was
go
Wait,
Kuminga.
what number is Kuminga though?
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh
I
no,
don't know what
Kuminga's.
number is.
I can't remember. Isn't he? Oh, feels stupid. I feel like he's 88. I could go with Kuminga.
I
Let's
think
go
he
with
does have a
Kuminga real
stupid
quick.
number.
Oh,
Zero,
he's double
zero.
zero. See, I remember the two numbers. That's unfortunate.
But he's older than 21.
I'm starting
He's
to
a
think
forward.
No, it's not. Yeah, I'm starting to think DeAndre Ayton. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yo, Joe, what
It's
you
got to
switching
be.
up there, man?
It's someone in the
Not
Northwest.
look at anything.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, no cheating, brother. I don't know.
So
I'm
mine
gonna
is
West.
a
DeAndre Ayton real quick. Just real quick. This is my. It's just a sudden urge. Nope. All right.
Northwest,
Interesting. So 20, probably
though. Like
about.
he's 7
So no, it's
foot?
22. Confirmed to be 22 years old. 7-footer, but not a center.
In the
I don't
It's some
understand.
player. It's some player on
West.
Yeah, it's the Thunder.
Thunder.
You think
Yeah.
it's? Oh, you think it's Holmgren, Chet?
Yeah. Chet.
They don't call him a center.
Chet.
Chet.
Yeah,
Chet.
Chet makes sense.
I don't know.
Chet.
I don't know if he's. I don't know if he's 22 yet,
No,
but
Chet.
I'll go with him. Okay.
What?
Okay,
I think it's
Jalen
Pokey. I think it's
Williams.
Pokey.
Oh, Poke.
But he's definitely.
Yeah.
I think
it's
is he still in the league?
Pokecheski, I think he's in like the
I haven't
backup.
heard.
I think he's a backup.
Ooh,
If it's not, it's Jalen Williams for sure.
Jalen Williams. Do
He's
we go
not
Jalen
7
Williams or
foot.
Poke? You pick. You pick.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't think he's
Poku.
seven foot.
I ain't gonna
He's
lie.
not 7.
All right,
Poke.
there we go. Got it. 5 guesses, not bad.
I've gotten him before on Portal.
I was starting
crazy.
to think that it was probably Pokecheski because I didn't think Holmgren was already 22, but hey,
I mean, all that talent they've got in the past few years, like I've totally forgotten about Poku.
I know, right?
Talent's a stretch with Poku, man.
There was like so much hype around him a couple years
Yeah,
ago.
there was.
Yeah, I thought he'd be next, bro. But I mean, since they got, Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams, J-Dub, since they got the other
J-Dub.
Jalen Williams, since they
Yeah.
got some
He
other
just got lost
guards,
in the rotation.
he's got lost. Poor
Sorry.
guy. I mean, we thought he was going to be in the rotation heavy, but he's not even playing anymore. I don't even know if he's still
Put
in
him
the
on the
Thunder.
Mavericks, man.
He'll be a Mav soon,
Great
I
target
guess.
for Dallas. Give him a couple second rounders, man. OKC loves that stuff.
Well,
Love.
speaking of giving picks, if I could segue that right there, let's talk about
So go-
Dallas
Ooh.
Mavericks basketball. Since the last episode we've had, TJ, of course, was our host as we alternate. But since then, we were talking about if we could get Pascal Siakam. And since that last episode, there was news that Pascal Siakam would be traded to Indiana. And so no Siakam for Dallas Mavericks fans after all. So after a big loss to the Boston Celtics last night, tough one right there. But of course, Mavs also had to have a postponed game because of a sudden death with Warriors assistant coach Dejan Milojevic, who was an assistant coach there, died of a heart attack tragically. Very tragic death for Golden State, but not a lot of action for Dallas this past week. Rough game against the Lakers a few nights ago, but 2-game losing streak so far. Past 2 games. What stuck out to you so far in this losing streak?
Well, are we calling it a losing streak? Just 2 games? I mean, technically
it's a streak, yeah.
Yeah,
That's what this team's been.
Yeah, they've actually. This is the first time they've had 2 losses in a row since I believe November. I believe they've been a very consistent team with winning games and then losing games. But I mean, yeah, I didn't actually watch a lot of the Celtics Mavericks game. Right when Luka got his ankles turned, I had to turn it off.
Jesus.
That was a tough sequence for him, actually. Jaylen Brown went back to the other side of the field, locked him up, and then got an N1 on Luka, got him jumping the very next possession. Very tough, man. Had to turn it off after that. I cannot see my top player like that get cooked like that. But, I mean, it just comes down to, again, the defense. I don't know how this team is going to fare in the playoffs when they play these competitive teams. We've lacked the good defense against really good teams. Looking at LA, I'm expecting them to make at least be in the playoffs at the end of this season, and the same with Boston. So I mean, this team definitely needs to make some moves at the deadline. Is my take after the Celtics game. This team just needs to. I feel like they're a couple defensive pieces away from being a title contender. To be honest.
Yeah, I think. The LA loss. I feel like when the Mavs and LA always play, it's always a little. I think they play up to each other, so I think the LA loss, even though like the Lakers aren't performing like how everyone thought they would, I don't really see it as much as a big as a loss. I mean, two losses being a streak is kind of disingenuous. I mean, I can see I can see what you're cooking now. I can see what you're cooking. That's the
We
first
gotta run a
take
narrative.
narrative.
I'm sorry. We gotta run a narrative here. We know what we do here.
But the Celtics, L. I mean, it's the Celtics. I mean, I just think that right now they are a better team than the Mavs. So for the Mavs to even win that game would have been pretty surprising to me if they even won. I ain't going to that game thinking that they're gonna win. I still think they're in a good spot though. Look at 18 boards, which is crazy. I mean, usually it's always flipped, but 18 boards is nuts. But I think that this team is still in the same spot that they were even when they were winning those games early in January. Now we're kind of closing end of January. We talked about this stretch pretty much the start of the year and how they're going through a tough stretch, and they still kind of are. And I think they've performed like as good as we would want them to. I don't think they really ever like falter too much like how we expect them to. So I think they're doing good so far.
Are y'all liking this lineup so far? I mean, these past two games, it's been Luka and then Kyrie at 1 and 2, and then Josh Green and then Jones and Lively. Do you like Jones there at the 4, or do you think it'd be different, or do you just like this that they had last night? Because this game was pretty close until the final stages, until the Celtics pulled away. But I mean, I kind of like it. Do you like it, TJ, at all?
I like Derek Jones Jr. I wish Josh Green could be a little bit more aggressive. I think he's been pretty aggressive with a shot this last couple games, which I've liked, but I just want to see more from him, What is he at? He's averaging about 7.5 points per game, which is less than he actually did last year. He's taken a step back when a lot of people thought he was going to be a massive improvement. So I don't know. I mean, I like Derek Jones Jr. being in the starting lineup. Of course, Derek Lively, if he can stay out of foul trouble, is massive. Such a massive importance of this team. But yeah, what Courtney said about this team, we expect the flaws. We don't expect a starting lineup that wasn't gonna be top notch, maybe starting lineup. We missed the playoffs last year, for crying out loud, and we didn't do enough changes to make ourselves a true title contender in the offseason. We expect these kind of flaws. But I mean, I guess I like seeing Tim Hardaway Jr. stay aggressive off the bench. Something that worries me every now and then is that sometimes we put Tim Hardaway Jr. in a consistent role bench and he starts to get kind of cold. He starts to, not score as many points. He's a huge X factor for this team. We win a lot of games when he scores a lot, and he did score 20 against Boston. Didn't account to a win, probably because Boston's probably the best team in the league right now. But I mean, I'm liking the Tim Hardaway Jr. being aggressive off the bench, because that's going to really help. That maybe that can bring some momentum to people like Josh Green, make him start being like, oh, I don't want to be the guy off the bench. I want to stay in the starting lineup. Hopefully, he can be a little bit more aggressive going forward.
Yeah, the thing about Josh Green is, I mean, obviously his team is more complete than it was last year. He was kind of last year's kind of discombobulated team from the injuries to just front office and everything. But I don't really know who's taking his points. Like he said, like TJ said, he was supposed to take a jump, but I mean, only 7.3. He should at least be in double digit at this point. So it's kind of disheartening to see that. But that reminds me about the starting lineup. I don't remember which one of y'all it was, but who was a part of the Maxi Kleber fan club last week?
Was not me. I'm telling you that now.
I have to ask. I just have to ask, like, how you feeling right now about him, about his performance?
He's getting a slow start back to his injury. That's what's happening.
Man, it's time, TJ. Let it go, TJ. Let it go. Let him go. Get him out of
No,
here.
don't tell me that, man. Maxey is part of this team. When we win a championship, he's going to be one of the ones hoisting him up, all right?
It's
He's
time
a
to trade him.
maverick. Maxey
it's
is
time to trade
a
him to Detroit.
maverick.
He's going to
Adonis
Detroit.
Chapman type
We complain
run,
all
man.
about defense, man. We complain all about defense. Once Maxey comes back, man, we all of a sudden don't like defense, all right? He's a defensive-minded player, all right? You know, he'll get his
Oh.
flow
Give it
back,
that
all right?
shot,
Believe
man.
the hype. Believe the hype on Maxey, all right?
Last night, of course, recording this on Tuesday. That's why we're saying last night. But Luke had 40 minutes. Kyrie had 36 minutes. In the middle, Josh Green, 38 minutes. Kind of interesting right there. But he was out there pretty much majority of the game, along with the stars. They were like, huh?
Just running around.
I mean, at least he put up some shots. I can't complain. Like TJ said, I'm glad he's at least putting up some shots.
I mean,
So,
7 shots off the bench ain't bad. I mean, look at Grant Williams. I mean, I'm going to be honest, though.
No, I was talking
Grant
about
Williams.
Josh Green. Josh Green, I meant.
Oh,
not
you're talking
Kleba.
about I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah,
I'm
he
too
scored
minded.
14. I can respect him for that. He scored 14.
14's not bad, and I think, Dante Exum's going to come back hopefully soon. And, I think it's a pretty crazy thing that Dante Exum was like a consistent third scoring option for this team, but
That's nuts.
hopefully he can come back. I'm really disappointed with Grant Williams, only 18 minutes against his former team.
Man, what happened, dude?
Well, he only had about a good first week.
He was
and then
cooking
kinda
that
started
first
dropping
week.
off
I
with
was so
productivity.
happy, man.
It's just I don't understand, man. The Mavs have shaped him into another Reggie Bullock. This was supposed to be an improvement over Reggie Bullock, but what he's doing is Reggie Bullock numbers, and what he's just how he's playing on the court is exactly how Reggie Bullock would play. Just not a good look right now. Not a good look. We went and signed a trade. We did a sign and trade for him. We really wanted him, and we're not utilizing him. So
rough.
hopefully, but all this again, just to say real quick, just to end it, if Kyrie Irving and Luka are going to take a combined 50 shots, we're not going to get productivity from the other players that we're expecting. They're taking 50 shots against Boston. Luka took 30 shots. 30 shots. And, you want the ball in your best player's hands. But, I mean, when you have this game plan, man, they don't, they're going to stop just caring about guarding these other players, man. We got to find the open man sometimes. I think that's what we struggle with. Not efficient enough.
Yeah, makes sense, though. But tough one for the Mavs. Seems like it's always, a little bit of a journey with the Dallas Mavericks throughout our lives. It's never easy. Always a lot of discombobulation. Never know what the outlook is, what the plan is going into playoffs. But it seems like it's going to be one of those years again. Hopefully they can start heat up after this All-Star break, which is coming up in a few weeks. But we're going to move up to the Cowboys. Not much to talk about, of course, after a disappointing playoff loss to the Green Bay Packers. And, of course, Courtney was wearing a Brett Favre jersey last week.
Footage, man.
Get this man off the pond.
Yeah, but
get him off.
The circus that is the Dallas Cowboys, plenty of controversy on Twitter this past week with family of Cowboys players going wild on the Bird app. But also we have news that Mike McCarthy is settled in to return to the Dallas Cowboys for another season. He will not be replaced. He will stay in DFW and be the coach for the Dallas Cowboys. Do we like that move or not, TJ?
I don't know. I mean, it's just kind of tough. I don't know how much you can really blame on Mike McCarthy for that loss. I think you can blame a lot of it, probably. But it all comes down to the players, too. Those are grown men out on the field. They can compose themselves. And, I don't think it's Mike McCarthy's job entirely to get them prepared for these games. They need to get them prepared themselves. But, I mean, I think Mike McCarthy, him coming back, Dak Prescott, looking to get a lot of money this offseason, probably will. This is just another cycle of, being a Cowboys fan, having the same team come back and expecting changes. I don't know how much we can really expect this team to be a Super Bowl contender if we keep doing the same things. And I mean, if Jerry Jones is really that desperate, again, I always think about the Hard Knocks last episode where he's trying so hard to tear up in his office saying how much he would want to see a Cowboys Super Bowl. I mean, really, then act upon it, man. Act upon it. You got to make those moves. I think Brendan Cooks and Gilmore was great moves last offseason. I'm interested to see what he does this offseason because, as we can see, we gave up 48 points in a wild card round, not the divisional round, not the NFC Championship. So we're still really far ways away from, hoisting a Super Bowl trophy. So, I'm really interested. Do I think it's the right move? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's tough. You have a good amount of head coaches out there right now looking for jobs. And I just don't know. I can't make an opinion on it right now, but I am a little disappointed. That's what I'll say.
I'm gonna touch on that point you made, Laz, about the head coaches and if it's the right move. I mean, when you think about all the coaches on the open market, I feel like about the top three. I feel like we can agree the top three head coaches in the market are Belichick, Vrabel, and probably Jim Harbaugh. And so Harbaugh and Belichick both are like you can't take their control away from them or their team. And we all know what Jerry likes to do the most, and he wants to be a center of attention. He wants all the control. So I always thought that the most realistic point of this whole season was that they were going to just keep McCarthy as coach because I feel like they wanted to make a big splash. If they're to fire Matt McCarthy, they'll make a big splash head coach and make like a big name head coach. I don't see them going for like a McVay or Shanahan coaching tree type of guy. I feel like they're trying to get someone that's a veteran, has been there before. And the two people that have been there before and are proven winners are people that Jerry is going to clash with all the time. So, and Vrabel, I feel like Vrabel would have been perfect. I feel like Vrabel would have been a really good hire for his team. I feel like he's a player's coach. I feel like they'll probably connect with him better, but I guess he just, for every reason, wanted to go with Mike. I don't know where Vrabel's going to go. It's going to be interesting where that goes, but I personally wouldn't have done that. It's like, I wouldn't have kept Mike McCarthy, like, for real. But I knew it was going to happen, though, because I feel like he just, even though Jerry said that he'll do, what he said, he'll put any amount of check, anything.
I forgot the official quote.
Just yapping, man. Just yapping.
Man, like TJ said, he's not putting his words into action. I think he is going to make moves this offseason. Obviously, he was active with getting Trey Lance before the season even started, and then Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. So I think he's going to keep making moves, but I think they're going to kind of keep the team laterally. I don't think they're really going to boost up to a top contender like the Niners are in NFC for them to actually make a push that they need to make, because 40-plus points in the wild card is just unspeakable.
Yeah, I mean, the Packers were scoring at will. I mean, I couldn't believe what I was watching. I still can't believe it. But, this is Mike McCarthy news. Yeah. Again, I'm not surprised with it. Bill Belichick, I don't think that's even close to being realistic like y'all were alluding to. But Mike Vrabel, I think he's the only realistic possibility. He was the only realistic possibility. But we're just now hearing that Jim Harbaugh is kind of on the verge of going to the LA Chargers. So I don't think he's even on the market technically anymore. I believe Sharon Moore, who was his interim head coach while he was suspended in Michigan, he's probably going to be the next head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. But Jim Harbaugh looks like he's going to be off the market, going to be the next coach in LA, probably down there with Kellen Moore, unless he does not let him return on his staff. But
interesting.
Mike McCarthy, this is an interesting return. I didn't expect Jerry to be have the iron fist and get him out of there. But it looks like even Dan Quinn, that he might even stay as well. He's getting a lot of interviews as well. Brian Callahan, who is the OC for Cincinnati, he's going to step in and replace Vrabel. I like that move a lot for the Titans because they've struggled with offense the past year. But Mike McCarthy, it's put up or shut up time now. I mean, there's no more excuses. You had literally everything go right for you this year. The history of the NFC East, not having a back-to-back champion once again went in your favor. For I believe the 19th straight season, not having a back-to-back champion. You have the home field advantage, could have 2 straight home games if you just win the first, and you blow it. So it's put up or shut up time for this Cowboys team. Mike McCarthy, it's time to have a sense of urgency once summer comes rolling around, because this was one giant collapse. This team fell right on his face. I'm interested to see what Jerry Jones does with free agency because I don't know if Stephon Gilmore can come back after that performance. Again, like I said, Dan Quinn didn't put him in the right position. I didn't like I said with TJ, I didn't understand that game plan. It made zero sense. Still makes zero sense. But I don't know if you can rely on, a corner like Stephon Gilmore at his age anymore. But Trayvon Diggs, he'll be back. Coming back from an ACL tear, which held him out for the rest of the year. That'll be a big return for the Cowboys. Instead of relying on, a young DB in DeRon Bland and an old DB in Stephon Gilmore. So it's going to be an interesting time for these Dallas Cowboys.
They're going to reload, yeah. They got Overshown coming back, too. I mean, coming for the first time, basically,
You also hope that they're also the same. I mean, an ACL injury, it's still ACL injury at the end of the day. I know players have recovered and have gotten even better, but I feel like it's a case-by-case basis. I think Trayvon Diggs is going to come back and be the same player, but I just hope that he did not get on that field when he's washed. It's good. The Twitter's going to be so bad.
It's a good thing he's young. It's a good thing he's young because that year before, he was actually really good. And after people, calling him out after that first team All-Pro accolade that he got, after, having all those picks, but then all of a sudden they track yards. Apparently, they like to track yards that a cornerback gives up. And as soon as he does that in the season, it's just funny. But that season after, he was really good. I mean, Courtney knows it's true. It's crazy. They've never tracked how many yards a quarterback gives up until Trayvon Diggs was, going crazy with interceptions. It's crazy.
They'll use it for DeRon Bland, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, DeRon Bland, too.
Yeah, moving on to... go ahead.
I was just going to say real quick, it is an interesting thought to think about how the Cowboys are really, they're a very loyal franchise, which is very unusual for a top-notch sports franchise, talking about sports, just talking about money-wise, you look at the Lakers, you look at the Yankees, they're not, they will go out there and make those big moves. They will go out there and get the big stars from free agency. The Cowboys, not so much. And I guess it is off-season rules and, how much traffic there is in the offseason is a little different in the NFL. But I mean, you're looking at the Cowboys and, they don't make those big moves. They don't go after the big head coaches. They don't go after the big players. They try to build through the draft, it's kind of interesting. It's something that hasn't worked, but a lot of teams do it and it does work. There's just something wrong that Jerry Jones has been doing all these years with, there's no problem with being loyal. I like that, they pay, they're they're on your franchise for years, man. You're trying to help them out, but maybe it's time to start making those big moves, making those risky moves, making, kind of like what the Rams did a couple years ago.
Yeah, I'm about to ask, would y'all be opposed if they just went the Rams route, just went all chips on the table?
Just buy everybody?
Just buy everybody.
Honestly, no. I wouldn't at this point. I haven't seen my team in the NFC Championship, so no, I would not be opposed to that.
No matter what, no matter how the Cowboys win a Super Bowl, the whole world will complain. So I don't really care, man. Just do whatever you can to get a Super Bowl. Just get a Super Bowl.
But you pretty much.
And look at the Rams now. Look at the Rams now. It's not like they went poverty like people thought they would. And, they put all the chips on the table. They won the Super Bowl. They had that rough stretch for like a year, and now they went back to the playoffs, drafting Puka Nacua, and then going 9-8.
Draft, though.
Yeah, crazy draft.
Puka. Yeah.
And if you can put all your chips on the table and then rely on, the great drafts that we've had, granted, Motzie Smith was not, a crazy draft pick, not going what people expected. But generally speaking, Will McClay and Stephen Jones get it done in the draft. So I would not mind that at all to answer your question. But moving on to the World Series champion, Texas Rangers. I'll never get tired of saying that ever in my life. I'll talk a little bit about Adrian Beltre, who is on the verge of being a first ballot Hall of Famer, who retired as a Texas Ranger. It's official now?
Yep.
That's awesome.
He got put in.
That is awesome, man. Just great news for the Texas Rangers. A man who finished his career with the Texas Rangers, then retired with the Rangers. He played with 3 franchises before, the Dodgers, the Mariners, and the Red Sox. Then we acquired him in the 2011 season, and then he retired, getting 3,000 hits, 3,166 hits, and then retired for the 286 batting average in 2019. So, TJ, what are your thoughts first and foremost on the legend of Adrian Beltre? He's my favorite player all time, unashamedly. I've always,
he is for me too.
always loved him,
Definitely.
man. Just what are your thoughts, Tim?
I mean, I'm super happy about it. I'm super stoked to see it, and waking up and seeing the quotes from Elvis Andrus about Adrian Beltre was very heartwarming. To be honest, I'm not a real sentimental guy, but man, that almost got me tearing up and
It's
stuff,
our
man.
childhood, man.
Growing up watching Elvis Andrus and Beltre on that the left side of the diamond, man. It's just you can't help but hope for the best for them. They were just two guys that enjoyed playing the game. Not only did they give us great moments on the field, but they gave us great moments off the field in the dugout. Between innings, they were always having laughs and stuff. So I mean, definitely a fan favorite. I'll never forget his one knee home run in the World Series. I'll never forget when he pulled the batter's box to him and then got ejected for it. He's just a legendary Ranger, and he'll be remembered as a Ranger. Even though he did play for other teams and had really good years for the Dodgers, the Mariners. He had 1 year with Boston, but I mean, he's going to be a Ranger. He totally embodied the culture of a Texas Ranger player, and he was perfect. He was perfect fit, and so I'm really happy for him. Really excited to finally see him going to Cooperstown and right into the sunset finally. Just wish maybe he was on this poster.
I know,
Just
man.
wish maybe
man.
I could see him hold up a trophy here.
That picture of him
That's
holding that
That's
trophy
the one
just
regret, man.
hit me in the
It's
feels.
great, man.
You got any
great.
comments, Courtney?
I mean, y'all about to skip me on this question, but I will say, I mean, I like when this World Series was happening, right? And talking about the legend of Corey Seager and all that, how he came from the Dodgers and he would help Rangers win the championship. I this is the casual in me. I did not know Adrian Beltre once played for the Dodgers until the World Series happened. Like I didn't know.
No, he
I thought
wasn't a
Beltre.
lifelong Ranger. He wasn't.
I thought Beltre was I really thought he was a lifelong Ranger. Like, that's how much I always saw him every time I watched the Rangers as a kid. When I thought Ranger, I thought Beltre automatically. So I never thought he'd never play for another team. And then when the bad years, right? Like 20, after the Blue Jays series and everything, when they're like really bad, and I just like look at a Rangers game, I'm like, dang, he's still on the team. Like that's the type of chemistry I have. Like he's still on that team. Like he's not gone yet. Like he's just that old man on that bad team. But I mean, after all that he endured on that roster, I mean, shout out to him. I was always more of a Josh Hamilton guy. Unfortunately, he's an addict, but still love me some Josh Hamilton, man.
Jesus.
I mean,
Unfortunately,
I think he's doing better now. But
Oh well.
yeah,
I don't think so.
That.
he is.
He had a problem with the child, I believe. So
Well, we'll see.
Don't think so. I think he's in jail.
True. That is true.
We'll
Actually,
see.
I wanted to see him. I wanted to see him make a comment after the championship. I couldn't find anything.
We didn't find anything. He wasn't there. They didn't mention him really that much.
Nothing,
I mean,
man.
it's very unfortunate.
Was it him or Kinsler after they left said that Arlington wasn't a baseball town or something like that?
It was
one of them. I think
definitely-
it was I think it was Josh
Hamilton. I think it was Hamilton.
Yeah.
But
That really got people. That really
yeah.
got people
Yeah.
sparked up, man.
I don't know if he'll ever be back. But Adrian Beltre, my favorite player of all time. Again, like you said, Courtney, it's not often you see a player's best years on their fourth team. You don't see that often in sports. And he was in the league, I believe, for 12 years before he became a Ranger. And then, he had his peak, you could argue, with the Texas Rangers, which is crazy to think. But what a journey he's had in his career. It's been fun to watch him. Of course, those one-knee home runs, you can never forget that. The joy he plays with, always having that hot corner on lock. It seems like Josh Young could eventually fill that role one day because, Adrian Beltre, he's one of the most underrated defenders ever. And a lot of people don't talk about his glove. They talk about how well his bat was. But, he had that hot corner on lock while he was a Texas Ranger. And not a lot got past him. I always remember his little fall away throw that he'd have across the diamond. Getting the runner out at first, which, is such an incredible play.
Man.
Made it look so easy. But Beltre, he deserves it, 100%, 110%. Lifelong Ranger, my favorite player ever in the history of the MLB. Just awesome to see him finally get this. And nobody argued it either. I mean, there is no debate about this. Everybody agreed that a guy who had 3,100 hits, has over 1,700 RBIs, would be making the Hall of Fame, which is already difficult to make with, writers who have their own narratives and agendas. So great to see this.
And I think he has the prettiest like right-handed batter swing in all baseball almost. I mean, you look at lefties, man. Lefties usually have those like that sweet swing that people love, the super, they're satisfying. But man, him on the right side of the batter's box, Beltre, he was nice, man. That swing was so nice.
TJ, I'll never forget this, but I don't know if you remember this game, but it was the night where we got smoked by the Marlins. It was insane. It was in Arlington. It was like 18 to like 6 or something like that, but nobody in our team could they hardly could hit that night.
Batter's box, right?
Yeah, I believe it might have been that night or it might have been the one after.
Pretty sure it was.
But if it was that night, he had like 4 hits. He was carrying like crazy. And that's one of the games I remember because everybody was striking out for some reason, but for some thing, it's just that. Yeah.
I mean, I just love the little cha-cha he would do in the batter's box. Whenever a ball got close to him, he'd start jumping up. I don't know.
The little tiptoe thing.
If we have more time, I'd get up and show it. But
I know what you mean. But who can never forget? Who can never forget? Elvis touching his head. Nobody ever wants him. Nobody ever wants. He never wants people to touch his head. So he always, made a joke about that. Of course, when he got his number retired in the old Globe Life Park, Elvis did it, of course, one more time as he presented his robe to him. But great for Adrian Beltre. TJ, do you have any news in the Stars at all before we get out of here?
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about them just a little bit. They're playing the Red Wings tonight. Obviously, the result will be in by the time this is uploaded. The last 3 games or so, this team has looked very, very inconsistent. This is kind of just what's going to happen during a hockey season. They lost its 2 games at home to Nashville entering 2024. But these last 2 games, I mean, you're looking at the Philadelphia game where they got outshot 43-15. Didn't even look like a game. And then they go and play the New Jersey Devils, who are also a competitive team in the East, and win 6-2 and dominate the entire time, outshoot the Devils. And then now you go into, I want to talk a little bit about the Islanders game. The Islanders game was something that, I was seeing a lot of people online being like, I'm good with a point out of this. Once again, the Stars made a good comeback, but I mean, again, this is another time where the Stars have outshot their opponent and lost. They've done that a lot this season. And it's kind of just, it's kind of disappointing. I think the defense just has a lot of lapses whenever they're back there, in front of Ottinger or Wedgwood. And so it's leading to a lot of goals that, a lot of teams just wouldn't really give up. The other teams' offenses have just been really efficient against us. And our offense itself has not been that efficient. Last 4 games, we've been 1-12 on the power play. I believe they went 0 for 3 last night on Sunday night against the Islanders. So, getting that power play going back again. The first line is back to scoring like they usually do. Pavelski's been, not scoring as much, but Robertson's been scoring a good amount. He had a really nasty goal against the Islanders. Hintz is doing good. The productivity of this first line is doing really good. They just need to find a way to get going on the power play again, which is going to happen. They're extremely talented. I'll always say it. Pavelski, Hintz, and Robertson is one of the most dangerous first lines in the whole league. They're going to get, they'll get their goals on the power play. They're doing really good. The Stars themselves, though, their penalty kill has been pretty decent recently as well. It's always been pretty good. In fact, the Stars are I believe they're 7th in the league in penalty minutes, which are, it's a good stat, less penalty minutes. They're not going to the box as much as other teams are, and they haven't been doing that lately. They've been getting more power plays than the other team in almost every game, excluding the Flyers. The Flyers was just an utter beatdown. But I mean, you're looking at this team, they're not getting into the box. They just have to capitalize on the power play, and I'm telling you, man, they're one of the best teams in the league once they get clicking like that.
All right, thank you for that, TJ. I mean, like you said, not good for this losing streak, but at least we know this team can get going once that power play gets rolling, because once that happens, that team can get dangerous. But like you said in the past, this is how hockey season goes. It's never going to be easy. The Stars team is known to get hot in the very late stages of the season and then to the playoff race. But hopefully this team gets it rolling. When the All-Star break is? I'm not sure when it is.
It's about a week earlier than the NBA, so it's actually upcoming closer. I think the Stars have, I think they have like 3 more games until the break. I think 3.
I mean, that's good. And these guys need a rest. I mean, hopefully they can go in with a few more wins.
Heiskanen can come back.
This team's pretty beat up.
Fully healthy. Yeah, they have a couple injuries, so.
This dude, Courtney. This dude, Courtney.
Bro. They are, bro.
All right, so we're going to wrap up this episode 23 of the 214 Sports Show. Please do remember to follow us and subscribe to our platforms. We're on Twitter and or X. We post our links to the show on YouTube and Spotify at 11 a.m. on Thursdays. And you can also follow us on Instagram and TikTok, where we also post some highlights from the show so you get more knowledge from how it works and the points we have in the show. TJ, can you give your social medias really quick so they can know where to find you?
Absolutely. Instagram is tj.krilowic. Twitter is tj_Krilowitz. Yeah.
Go ahead, Courtney. Would you like to?
Would
you like to give me social medias?
Yeah, of course. Instagram, clivesdalife. Twitter, C_Machani.
C_Machani. TJ with the cowboy hat. What was the background for that in the show?
I was just feeling silly.
It looks nice. It looks nice though.
We're still waiting on you to have your hat. You still have to have some type of head decor, bro.
I'm trying to, bro. I don't wear hats.
Where is it, man?
I look goofy in hats, man.
The headphone. Yeah, you gotta find it. You gotta find something, man.
You gotta find maybe a Santa hat or something, or
Santa. Oh my God, we're past that.
Oh yeah.
Well, as for me, you can follow me on Twitter and X at Joseph_Duffy99. Same for both. That is again at Joseph_Duffy99. Like I said before, you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok and X. YouTube is 5 where we post our episodes every Thursday at 11 a.m. Thank you again for watching and or listening to the 214 Sports Show. Your home for everything Dallas sports. Have a good rest of your day.